Dwayne Morrison here for another Make It Happen podcast. Podcast number 2 on this new format that we're doing with inspection defects that we find oftentimes. I want to just mention that Chase Kerr, my co-host, is no longer with us on the podcast. He's moved on to bigger and better things. He's working for a new company, and we're very happy for him. It's pretty much a promotion, and it's advancement for him. And so we wish him the best. We hope that he'll come back on and visit us maybe for some future podcasts. But until then, William Morrison is on the podcast now as the new co-host, and he's bringing pictures directly from his property inspections because William is a property inspector. He's a CREA certified inspector, and we're very happy to have you on, William. Congrats on the new commercial class, I guess, you're going to be taking this weekend. And welcome.
Yep, happy to be here. So,
all right. Well, let's just go ahead and jump right in. What do you got for us here, William?
So here, this was an attic I was in a few days ago, and what we're actually looking at right now is a chimney flue that is in contact with some of the ducting for the HVAC system. Since the chimney flue gets pretty hot, you're going to want to have those two items separated.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, we are in the attic. This is a real home inspection. You did it.
Yeah.
You took this photo, and how old is this house?
This house it was rebuilt 15 years ago.
Rebuilt 15 years ago.
Yes.
So part of it was rebuilt because I'm looking here at the framing, and some of that framing is original from when the house was originally built, but they've done some kind of a rebuild in.
Yes.
So it looks like okay, yeah, because you can tell the roof has new sheathing on it, which is the lighter color sheathing. What I thought was interesting is since this is what year is this house originally? Do you know?
I do not know. I just know it was rebuilt in 2004.
Just based on the framing that I'm looking at here, I mean, I'm going to say, maybe 40s, maybe 50s, according to the framing that I'm looking in there. It's interesting that they say the house is rebuilt because this house is not completely rebuilt. You can see the old original framing there. However, this chimney is not a chimney from the 40s or 50s, and you were inspecting that. And so typically these chimney flues are triple walled.
Correct.
So, they generally don't get that hot on the outer side, but you never know if they fail or if it's faulty or gases somehow get into the, outer wall. You can't have that in contact with anything that's combustible or any other type of material, right?
Yep, correct.
Okay. I also noticed here, I mean, it's great that you saw that ducting shouldn't be in contact with it. Also know that the insulation's in contact with it, and it's going up in the middle of the wall there inside the house, and there's no fire blocking there at the ceiling. So that's missing some things there. And what's all that strapping there that's around? It's just loose strapping?
Yeah, it's just loose strapping. They strap some sheet metal up there to kind of separate it from the wood framing as it penetrates through the roof.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed, but you could see some white drip marks over there at the right-hand side of it. So
yeah, so I guess it's leaking, or the flashing's not working real well. So
yeah,
you can see it's dripping down the chimney. You actually probably find that a lot, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. All right, so what do we have here, William?
So this is a crawl space access to a 8-unit building that I inspected a couple days ago.
Oh, so this is an apartment building?
Yes.
Okay.
And pretty much my recommendation on this was more so about diverting water away from the access opening. I'm not really too happy with the curb and the cover that they used.
Okay, so I mean, I would say 95% of crawl space openings don't have that cover.
Correct.
So I guess it's, and probably most home inspectors don't even call that out, but you're calling it out, probably because we had so much rain this last year, right?
Yeah.
And so, so they're really, water can pool up inside of there, and it should have some type of cover on it, covering the actual opening and the actual curbed area, right?
Yeah, sometimes you actually see them install drains in there, but that wasn't the case this time. But
okay. I also noticed on this that it's nice to see that they put a new screened cover there, but they just bolted it right through the stucco. That if you look real close, it's supposed to be tucked up in behind the stucco there and flush with the wall, right? It shouldn't be popped out like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, A for effort though. We like to see it. There's actually a functional screen at least.
Yeah.
So all right, moving on to the next one. What do you got for us here, William?
So this is a cantilevered second-story unit on top of a carport, more commonly known as a soft-story construction.
Okay.
And pretty much what we advise here is to verify any signatures on any earthquake retrofitting.
Okay, so here in Los Angeles, I know that, and I don't know about everywhere in California, but I do know in the city of Los Angeles that when you transfer sale on a building that has soft story construction, which basically a carport underneath, a bedroom or an apartment, it has to have retrofitting to it.
Yep.
And we don't inspect retrofitting because we're not engineers. And so there should be commentary on that to let the buyer know that they have soft story construction and to make sure that what's supposed to be done is done, right?
Yep.
And that's primarily for earthquake safety and things like that, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. All right, now we're in the crawl space. Here's the good stuff.
Yep.
So talk to me about what we're looking at here.
Well, one, the photo isn't centered up on what we're actually supposed to.
That's a pet peeve of mine. I can't stand seeing like wood framing that's like at an angle.
Yeah, I mean, this was the 8-unit building. I was kind of tired, but
okay.
Pretty much what we're looking at here is a wood post that's in contact with the soil around it, and essentially you don't really want soil in contact with wood because the moisture can wake up it. And
termites can get into it, and it's just subject to all kinds of things. It's not good for the home, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm obviously here. I mean, I'm sure you wrote up all the trash, debris. Looks like a cable for cable TV lying on the ground, things like that. So
yeah, of course.
All right, let's talk about what we got here next. All right, so wow. I guess it looks like to me, before you get into what you're going to write up here, it looks like to me that there has been some work done to the foundation. Those posts look like newer wood as opposed to the older looking wood. So they replaced some posts. But what's going on here, William?
Well, we're missing a post for starters. So we got that. And then you can actually see the girder right there is actually starting to deflect a little bit.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, but it probably because it's not supported, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe before they replaced the wood post there, maybe who knows what was going on. Okay. Easy fix.
Yep.
Okay. Same crawl space.
Same crawl space.
Okay. What are we looking at here?
So they dug up the main drain to replace some of the line, and they actually didn't put the soil back.
Okay, so they dug it up, and it was happy hour, and we just basically said, all right, job's done, let's go.
Pretty much.
Okay. Also, I mean, it looks like they just kind of didn't replace the whole thing. They just did a quick fix. Looks like the old drain's still there, and they just put a rubber fitting to the new drain. It's probably not the right way to connect that. Probably subject to clogging there, you would think. And then I guess because they didn't put the dirt back, that's the actual concrete stem wall, which is holding up the exterior wall of the home where the drain's going under, right?
Yes.
So that needs to be supported, and dirt should be under there and all of that. But this is something that a homeowner or an investor wouldn't see without crawling underneath the house and going under there and getting dirty.
Yeah, and there's some implications from leaving that soil taken out. If you go on to the next slide, you'll see what can happen to the footings.
Oh, look at that. Okay. Is that the same contractor that dug that up?
Yep.
Okay, or plumber or whatever. So they just dug that up and they left it, and that's kind of why you don't want to leave the dirt not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to leave 45 degrees of untouched soil within those footings. So
to let the load disperse out into the grade, right?
Correct.
Well, that's definitely, it looks like it's just excavated and the footing's exposed, and it looks like the footing's starting to settle down, and looks like it's separating. I mean, it looks like there's two separate pours there to that footing too. Maybe so the whole. This probably isn't that big a deal though, right? I mean, if you're a seller, you should, in my opinion, do a pre-listing inspection. So if you caught this on the pre-listing, you can get somebody down there and just fill this in, fix it, maybe recenter things, maybe pour a little more concrete. It doesn't really cost all that much. But if I was a buyer, this would probably scare me.
Yes, me too. But really, when I was inspecting the rest of the structure, I mean, it really wasn't affecting the integrity.
Okay.
As far as I could see, I mean, doors and windows were opening nice and easy. Didn't really see any cracking, shooting out the corners of framing members and like the doors and stuff like that. Nice level floors. Really no
Okay.
signs of settlement other than once you get under there. So
Okay. 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 All right, let's move on to the next one. What do we got here, William?
we're back underneath the home,
Okay.
and actually this is the home that was rebuilt.
Okay.
Or flipped. I'm sorry. And I was in the crawl space, and I was
Because this does not look like a rebuilt foundation. But it's interesting how realtors will say that,
yeah.
or how they'll be informed that the house has been rebuilt, and this is not new.
Yeah, a lot of times they rebuild homes and they leave the old foundation. They don't
Right,
wanna, they
right.
don't want to redo that.
It's very important to have an inspection to let you understand that you're not being sold a bill of goods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
especially if it's a newly built home and it's just paint.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Well,
They say
you
it's
walk
already
in
been
there,
built.
everything looks brand new, right?
Yeah. And they repainted everything, or they took out like a center, like made it open,
Right.
open concept or something like that. And
Yep.
just realtors sometimes just guess,
I
It
don't
is
have
what it is.
photos of it, but they actually left behind all the knob and tube original wiring and stuff
Wow.
like that.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but
So-
we're looking at a settled pier here. This was a home that had gray drainage issues around.
So
the
moisture
property.
has been getting in there.
Yes.
It looks dry now, but moisture's been getting in there. And I mean, for me, if I ever was if I'm inspecting this house and I go under there and I see that concrete foundation, those exterior concrete stem walls there are just so deteriorated. You can see the large rock aggregate. I mean, did you stick your screwdriver in that?
Yeah, and it was just flaking.
Just powder just went right through, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, this foundation needs to be definitely a retrofit or some maintenance done to it for sure. But yeah, good catch, William. Good catch. Again, debris. It's dirty under there. It should all be cleaned out. Okay, what do we got here?
So this was a house I inspected yesterday over in Torrance, and it was the main part of the home was on a monolithic slab, and then you have in the garage the CMU block foundation.
Okay, so that would for those of you, let me translate. CMU block those are cinder blocks.
And essentially, I was pretty concerned with the type of cracking that I'm seeing in here.
Yeah, that's a straight horizontal crack all the way across, which is an indication there's a lateral force going against that wall.
Yep.
I mean, who knows what's causing that? I mean, you would hope that there'd be it would be reinforced with rebar in there, but
It was really strange because on the other side of this wall is the monolithic slab.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
So I mean, I'm not an engineer, but I'm gonna be recommending you have one. Take a look at what's going on here.
Yep.
And then if you go to the next slide, this actually is up against the grade.
okay. So there's soil behind that.
Yes. And you see it starting to displace. Now, I really like your idea. I think it may be not reinforced with rebar.
Yeah.
And that might be what we're seeing.
Well, you would think if there's rebar there that it couldn't do that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, my guess would be that it's missing rebar inside of there, and they just didn't fill it in. But okay. Well, that's what we have. Well, hey, William, these are great photos. Hopefully, you're going to get us some more of these for the next podcast for next week.
Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. Like, subscribe. Please comment on what we're doing here. Definitely excited about doing some more of these podcasts and drilling down into some of the things that are unique to property inspections and talking about and hopefully give you an idea of how important a property inspection is. So until next time, thanks for coming, Wayne.
Yeah, thank you for having me.